Hi guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the BitFenix Prodigy. Now I did plan on giving you this video a number of weeks ago, but unfortunately I was struck down with tonsillitis, so obviously that affects the glands, the throat and everything, and I wasn't able to speak too well. But anyway, I'm 100% now, so as I said, we're going to take a look at the new Prodigy. Now you will have seen pictures around the web, perhaps reviews, videos, and you may well even own one of these. This is BitFenix's first mini ITX chassis. As you can see, it's very stylish in its design. It's got the cube type shape, handles here at the top which are flexible, and also the bottom ones are to sort of give it a nice cushion. Perhaps if you drop it, it will have a bit more of a cushion to be able to sustain anything like that. On the side panel here, we've got the front panel controls, USB 3.0 via the motherboard header there, and inside here we've got positive airflow, so we've got an intake fan at the front and we've also got one at the back, so that gives you positive airflow going across the system rather than just having an exhaust, which some mini ITX chassis do have, just one at the top or one at the back, so that's good to see. And this case is available in white or black, so it's going to look really nice next to a TV, or even if you've got it in an office, it's going to look nice and stylish. In terms of pricing for this, you're looking at around £65 in the UK and then $80 if you're over in the States. So as I said, we're going to take a good close-up tour of this case today. I'm going to show you the inside, the outs, and also give you a verdict at the end. Okay, first things first then, we'll take a look at the exterior of Prodigy. As you can see here, we've got a combination of different types of materials used. On the top here and the bottom for the handles, we've got BitFenix Soft Touch. Now we've seen this on many other BitFenix chassis. It's a nice matte finish and it prevents the scratching there. Side panels are solid steel, and we've got a perforated section just to allow the heat to dissipate out of there. And the front is steel as well, but this is perforated mesh. And the simple reason for that is we've got a 120mm fan at the front there, and that's an intake, so it's going to need to take from out of the case into the case and across the system. And behind there we've also got an air filter which is removable. You can take that out and clean it. And we've got the BitFenix logo in the centre, which is metallic, and that's quite a nice sort of little emblem there. And at the top we've got a 5 1/4 bay cover, just in case you want to pop in an optical drive. Now the front panel controls are actually found on the alternate side panel, and these are completely hardwired, the ports and the buttons, and they include 2 USB 3 ports via the motherboard header. We've got a headphone and a microphone jack with activity LEDs. We've got a reset button, and we've got a large power button. At the top of Prodigy we have the trademark FiberFlex handles. These are going to be ideal for transporting the case. Maybe you're going to a LAN party, you need to take this, or even if it's at the home, next to the TV or in the office, you need to move it. Really handy. And these, as the name suggests, are flexible. You can see there. Obviously a mini ITX system isn't going to be something that's particularly heavy, so these handles are ideal to sustain the weight if you do need to transport it. In the centre here we've got this mesh panel which is removable. All we need to do is flick the switch and this panel comes out. As you can see, it's the honeycomb sort of design, and you can take this and clean it. There isn't a filter that you can remove, but obviously you can take the whole thing out and just clean it if you need to anyway. In the centre here we've got the mounting holes there for dual 120mm fans if you want to add those in. Both of the side panels on Prodigy are solid steel. As you can see from the prominent side here, we've got this perforated area. You can't actually attach any fans to this, but it does add the ability for heat dissipation, because the most immediate device next to this is the graphics card, so that's a good idea there. To lock in both of these panels, we've got dual thumb screws. I've removed one already just to make it quicker for the video, and once I've removed this, you can see there's the side panel. And this is a very sturdy, robust solution, not like some of the ATX cases where they flex and they're quite thin. This is certainly a very good quality. Now when you do take that side panel off, you're going to immediately see the graphics card. If you've got a particularly big graphics card, then it will take up most of the space. So we'll take the other side panel off now, and we'll show you what the features are and see what's available. Okay, so we've removed the other side panel, and this gives you a bit more of an insight into what's going on inside the chassis. The motherboard tray actually sits on top of the power supply unit cage, and the power supply units that we can actually house inside Prodigy are up to 160mm. If you do go for a 160mm power supply unit, then you need to make sure that if it is modular, the connectors that plug into the power supply unit aren't too large, because obviously this is the maximum that you can have and you don't want it to be pushed out of the chassis. Obviously if you go for a smaller unit, then you've got a bit more space to play with. On either side of the motherboard tray we've got two cutouts for routing the cables up and out through the case, and you can see there we've got area which I've used just to route the cables through. Any redundant cables that you need to tuck away, 24 pin power, which is usually quite long, I've just threaded that through, and any excess I've just put in there. And this power supply unit has a removable filter, and you can just pull this out and you can clean it. Above the power supply area we've got two PCI expansion slot covers. These are mesh for the ventilation, and we've also got the thumb screws for easy removal. Now it's good to see that BitFenix haven't only gone for a single slot here, but they've gone for a dual slot, and obviously that covers a vast range of graphics cards, including high-end. In terms of cooling, at the back there we've got a 120mm fan. This is an exhaust, and we've also got the option to add in a 140mm if you want to swap that 120 out. And then at the front we've also got a 120mm fan, which is intake, and you can also upgrade that to 140 if you need to. So we've got the positive airflow going across the system. Onto hard disk drive storage, we've got two cages here, giving us up to 5 options for 2.5 inch or 3.5 inch drives. Typical sort of thing that we've seen with BitFenix cases, where you've got this tray and you can drop in a 3.5 inch, which just needs the pins putting into the sides. Or if you go for a 2.5 inch, you've got the mounting holes there, and you just need to pop in the screws on the underside. You can see here I've already popped in a 3.5 inch drive at the very bottom, and it's just as simple as that. And this upper cage is actually removable without any screws being removed. You can see there we can take that out, and the bottom cage is also removable. So it gives you plenty of options, really is versatile this case. You can take out these hard disk drive cages if you don't want them in, and other opportunities there as well. We're going to talk about water cooling a bit later on. Onto the topic of clearance, we'll start with the CPU cooler. Now we've got here approximately 180, 190mm, so that covers a vast majority of products currently on the market. But if you do go for something that's perhaps flagship, make sure you check the specifications, the dimensions, and whether it will fit on the motherboard. Now the Zotac Fusion motherboard, which I've got installed inside Prodigy, has the integrated graphics, but just for the purpose of detail I wanted to show you the maximum clearance for the GPU. So undoubtedly many of you are going to be wanting to pop in a discrete solution. So we've got here an XFX 7970, which is 10.5 inches in length, and you can see there with the ruler there's up to 12 inches for your graphics card clearance. And obviously with the ability to pop in a full ATX power supply unit, then we've got the support there for the graphics card, and some mini ATX chassis don't have the ability to have a full-sized ATX, so it's good to see that BitFenix have got this covered. Now in terms of water cooling, there are quite a lot of options available. We've got the 120 with 140 at the top, rear and the front. But for the purpose of demonstration, I'm just going to show you a 240 rad. This is the Phobia G charger, and this can fit at the front or the top. So I've removed all the hard disk drive cages and the optical drive to allow for this. You just need to remove the screws. Really, it takes literally a couple of minutes, and it just shows you how versatile Prodigy is. Perhaps for this reason, it's not the most compact of mini ITX chassis. Finally then, let's find out how loud the stock case fans are inside Prodigy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to power the system up and get my microphone as close to each of the fans as possible. We've got a 120 at the front, 120 at the back, an intake and an exhaust. So So I'll just power the system up and then take my microphone off. Okay, you probably wouldn't have been able to even pick that up. They are so quiet, but it gives you a rough idea of what to expect from the stock performance fans inside Prodigy. Okay guys, well we've reached the end of our video. We've been taking a look at the new BitFenix Prodigy. As you've seen, very stylish. I like what they've done on the outside, but also the inside is really good as well. I like the fact that that motherboard sits on a horizontal plane. You know, a typical sort of case, it sits on the vertical, and there's potential there for the strain of the CPU cooler, the graphics card, giving it, you know, the gravity. You know, as things are getting bigger, the CPU coolers are getting bigger, heavier, graphics cards in a similar sort of fashion. There is going to be more strain on the motherboard, so that's good to see. I like that. And obviously we've got the support there for bigger graphics cards like this 7970 that we've got here. We've got the ability there for 680 other graphics cards, and also corresponding power supply. So you've got the 160mm, the full ATX, so you've got the ability to house the power. You've got mini ITX Z77 that you can pop in here, an SSD, combine all those things and you've got a really powerful system. And you compare something like that to a typical sort of desktop PC that people have got, and this is a mini powerhouse. You wouldn't think that you could get such power inside such a small sort of space. Also, we've got the support there for the water cooling radiators at the top, the back and the front, different sizes, so it's, you know, really versatile, this case. One thing I would have liked to have seen, I know you've got the ability to pop in two 120s at the top and at the bottom here, and there is a 120 at the bottom. Would have liked to have seen that fan further up, just because more in line with the system, takes the air across the system rather than just hitting that power supply cage. So just something to add really, just for future. Perhaps it would have been more effective in that sort of manner. So guys, if you want to check out the full review over on Vortez.net, check that out. It's got the thermal performance there, obviously can't show that in the video, and it's got a bit more detail to check out. One other thing, there's a couple more days left on this. If you go to our Facebook page, we are going to give away a BitFenix Prodigy, a choice of colours. You know, you can go for the white or black, you choose, and all you got to do is share the top post. So if you go over to the Facebook page, the very first post on there, we've pinned it, and you just need to share it. Literally just do that. And 1st of August, make sure it is 2012, it's not next year. You've only got a couple more days left on that, so go over there and you could win one. So guys, thanks for watching. As always, I really do appreciate the support that you give. If you could like and also subscribe if you're a new watcher, and I'll see you soon.